way of looking at foods, and I'm going to try and present it this way. So, can we live and can we survive on meat? Absolutely, right?
Not very long.
But I want you to start thinking of it as it's a weak food. It's a weak food, it's an inferior food, it's a dirty food. It's a dirty food that prematurely clogs up our arteries, our engines, and makes us that much more prone to these chronic Western diseases that are taking this country down. So it's a weak food. Now, next, guys, let's talk about dairy. So I want you to start thinking of dairy. I'm getting the weirdest thing in my ears from the speakers, but is everybody cool with it?
Yeah.
All right. Let's start thinking of dairy as different forms of meat. Okay? Hopefully this will leave a lasting impression. So we'll start thinking of milk as
Liquid meat.
liquid meat. There you go. We're going to start thinking of cheese as what kind of meat? Hardened meat. And we'll start thinking of yogurt as what kind of meat? Runny meat. And let's start thinking of cottage cheese as what kind of meat? Lumpy, curdled, mottled meat. Okay? And we'll start thinking of ice cream as what kind of meat?
Frozen.
We're all in agreement. Frozen meat. Exactly right. So let's start with milk. Why is milk like liquid meat? Well, for starters, milk is loaded with saturated fat, dietary cholesterol, and animal protein. So let's start with whole milk. One 8-ounce glass of whole milk. This is going to blow your minds. 1 8-ounce glass of whole milk is 51% fat, has the same amount of saturated fat as 5 strips of bacon and twice the amount of calories. Right? That's not going to give you strong bones or give you a strong body. The reason why we're not a fan of 2% milk, what percent fat do you think 2% milk is? Did you say 2%? That's what I would think, right? I mean, I'm looking at all this milk here. It says 2%. How can it be anything but 2%? I'm sorry if I'm spitting on you. One of the hazards of being 3 inches from my mouth. So 2%. Who can explain to me why is it not 2%?
2% by weight.
2% by weight. It's 2% by weight. So actually, that 2% is 35% fat if you do it by the number of calories from fat in that 8-ounce glass. But if you do it by weight, it's only a measly 2%, and that's because the majority of the weight is coming from what?
Water.
It's water, and water has how many calories? 0. And then 1%, what percent fat, and that 2% milk has the same amount of saturated fat as 2.5 strips of bacon. And that 1% is actually what percent fat? 25% fat. And then the problem with skim milk, that for the most part has 0 fat, is that now you have a greater proportion of your calories coming from problematic animal protein than you have in 1%, 2%, or whole milk. So the moral of the story here with cow's milk is that you can't win when you're trying to drink another mammal's milk, right? A camel's milk is made for a camel. A rat's milk is made for a little baby rat. A horse's milk is made for... There is a vast array of plant-based milks out there, from almond to soy to rice to cashew to flaxseed. There's a lot out there. I personally prefer unsweetened milks, and in our household we do a combination of almond and oat milk.